All right, so we had a little technical... Oh, thanks, Tracy. You can hear us now. Isn't that funny how that went out?
Can you hear us? So were you able to hear us from the beginning? Because we can always be just as charming and awesome.
We're very charming.
Start, so.
Well, especially Al. He's very charming. But let me know that you can...
Come on.
Let us know you can hear us, guys. We appreciate you. It says live. Hey, Jen. Jen, can you hear us? We had a little trouble with the audio there. So let us know you can hear us. Just type it out. Before I get Al all riled up again, because I have some good questions for him. Let us know you can hear us. Let us know you can see us. I hate for him to talk. Gert, let me know you can hear us and see us. Tracy, can you hear us and see us? Yay. Okay, we got a light.
All right.
So perhaps we're golden. All right. Loud and clear.
And we got 4 people now. All right, so we're building again.
We're building again. All right.
Well, hey, Ted.
Hi. Oh, my God. I've got a guest. It's Al Spry joining us today. I love live, man. That's the best part.
It's awesome.
All right, so let's talk about living sexy. We'll get back, because obviously they caught some of that in the beginning, but Al's my guest. Troy Blanchard, thank you. And Visible, thanks, Jen.
I'm a realtor, I'm a TV guy, and I'm a radio guy. That's basically what I do.
He's got a face for TV, so you're good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
But we haven't talked about the TV. We were talking about Living Sexy, which is Living Sexy, which was a radio show that Al had.
Yeah, I've been in the radio business 20 years. Just to recap, I've been on everywhere from WMMO to WDBO to WFLA here in town. I did some promotions work with WHTQ. So in 20 years, I made a lot of friends at Cox Radio and also at Clear Channel, which became iHeart. And I love those folks. I miss a lot of them. And so after that, I decided in 2014, I decided to try something a little different and decided to do this kind of concept called Living Sexy, which is about living life to the fullest. And we had a lot of fun with it.
Well, you guys had fun. I mean, I remember the topics Glenda would post, and I remember the topics were fascinating. But what we talked about earlier, not on the show, but before the show, was that people respond to the word sexy. Sometimes they're afraid of it. And of course, hey, Renee, how you guys doing?
Hey, guys.
People respond to it, maybe they're afraid of it, is what you had said. And I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age, we're not living in the free love times anymore. We're not living in the easygoing kind of 70s times. We're definitely in the 2000 teens or whatever, which is basically a different time now. It just seems like people are a little more afraid to kind of step outside the comfort zone. We're telling them it's okay as long as you're respectful of other people's boundaries and who they are.
But that's scary right now. That's one of the things we were talking about, is that it seems like we're getting out in that world where there really isn't a definition of what is right or not right. But because of all the accusations and all the things that are coming in and all of the people who have been had to deal with all of the sexual stuff that's going on, especially in Hollywood and Washington, are all over the place, really. It just seems like nobody really has a good clue, and people are going back to Puritan. It's very scary what's out there. It's also scary what we don't know.
It's funny because I have a friend, and her name, well, I won't say her name, but she's a really cool friend of mine, and I see her from time to time. And she said, well, the pendulum's swinging. So the pendulum for a long time was one way, and very sexy and sexualized because of media and so forth. Now it's kind of slamming to the other way. Eventually it'll kind of come back into the middle. But right now we're in a reactive period where people are, and rightfully so. I mean, if you've been sexually harassed, obviously I'm behind you 100%.
Me too.
I mean,
and I'm glad that they had the voice, or felt like, I mean, as much as I can't think of her name, Rose, the woman
McGowan.
Yeah,
sure,
so
sure.
I mean, she really did empower a lot of women, a lot of people to come forward, and the fact that it tumbled in such a domino effect, meaning it was, in my opinion, it was teetering for a very long time. Like, it only took that one person to really speak out about it, and then everything started to be uncovered. I mean, I'm amazed at the people it's taken down, but I'm not amazed at the people.
I'm not amazed at the industry. I mean, they've been writing and talking about sleeping your way in Hollywood since the beginning of Hollywood. When you wanted to get roles, you would, and I'm not saying any of this is right, this is the way it was, and in some cases probably still is that you would be an actor or an actress, you would want to get into the business, you would go to the casting couch, they called it. You'd do some things that maybe you didn't want to do, or maybe you did want to do, and you wanted to move in and move up. This was the way it was for many years. However, times change. Things change. I think things are changing in a good way. I think that
I agree.
I think
Totally.
it's important to understand that there should be opportunities without you having to have sex to get opportunities.
Correct.
Obviously.
And you shouldn't be in a position where you're feeling like you're forced to do something or forced to endure something just to get a role. And it's not just roles. I mean, this is not the one thing I'll say about the Hollywood thing is Hollywood in general, in my opinion, tends to be so judgmental of everything that isn't Hollywood. So it's been a fascinating unraveling to watch how they've all started to eat their own young.
But it's not just in Hollywood, it's also in politics. Because
Totally.
What is politics? Politics is Hollywood for ugly people, right? So when people are ugly and they can't get into Hollywood, they go into politics.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but President Trump originally wanted to be an actor.
I did not know that.
So there has always been a connection between politics and Hollywood. Look at Ronald Reagan.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so there's always been that. So now you're seeing old-time politicians being taken down in this as well. And, the status quo is changing. And I think it's refreshing every so often when you have things stirred up.
I agree totally with you.
But Living Sexy wasn't about sex per se. It was about being sexy.
Right.
It was about living life to the fullest. It was about expanding your horizons. It was about opening doors. It was about saying to yourself at the end of your life that I had a great time and then croaking. Because we're all going to croak anyway, you might as well have a good time.
I'm going to go pickled and
go.
preserved before I go. Pickled and preserved.
You mean like a pickle? Like a
with the alcohol.
With the alcohol. I like this. I think I might be on this plan as well. So after I did Living Sexy, which lasted about 2.5 years, we still have LivingSexyRadio.com, which is a music and talk network. So it still survives in some form, although the show itself is on hiatus, we'll say. Okay. Will I bring it back? I don't know. Maybe.
But you have other projects.
But I have other things going on.
So tell them what else you do, because you do a lot.
For about 8 years, I did 10 years, I either produced or co-hosted a show called Florida Roundtable, which is still on in 65 markets. It's hosted now, co-hosted by another gentleman whose name is Mike, and he's a great guy, and my friend Reagan Smith. Mike Yaffe do it, but I did it with Reagan for about 8 years. Great show. We got to interview the governor and senators. We got to interview Speaker Boehner. We got to interview authors and all kinds of great people. And it was a lot of fun to do. And most people know me from Florida Roundtable. After Florida Roundtable, I decided to turn it into a TV show, and I called it American Roundtable, where it's not just where we look at Florida politics and Florida goings-on, but we kind of expanded it to the entire country. And if you want to find out more about that, it's facebook.com/USA Roundtable. So you can put it in your search, U.S. Florida. Even if you put in American Roundtable.
And we'll post all that at the end when we post the video.
But that's a fun show because I get to do it with two people that I really love. One is Drea Dahl. She's a beautiful blonde girl who's very funny, wickedly funny. And then also my friend Bill Strickler, who's been in the cable and TV business for 40 plus years, and he's got a very unique take on politics, as do I. It's an irreverent look at politics, but we're not partisan, meaning we're not going to go left or right on you. We're going to kind of look at how trends are forming and what's happening in Washington and how absurd it sometimes is.
Well, we talked about it earlier. It's great to have an open discussion because I think, especially if you're on the right side of the fence, even an inch, it's very difficult. I think people feel like it's difficult to talk anything positive about the current administration. So people are fearful of talking because there's such a backlash. And I'm not saying one way, thank you, Lenny. I'm not saying one way or another what I feel. I'm just saying that I think it's unfortunate that people can't express how they feel without completely the witch hunt going on. Well, if you like Trump in any way, shape, or form, like we talked about earlier, some of the things that we both like the fact that he's stirring up the norm. He's creating a new norm. He's not an insider. That doesn't mean we agree with everything that he does. It just means that we like that part of it. But to be able to say that out loud in this particular environment, you get hung. It's terrible.
Like I told you before the show, if you had Trump's ability to stir things up along with Obama's smoothness and the way he presents himself, you'd have the perfect president.
Correct.
You would have kind of like a Reagan almost. You know how Reagan could kind of just go, well, And he can just, and everyone went,
Good
oh, it's Ron
impression.
Reagan, he's fine, So, but with Trump, it's like, Trump, he just kind of grates people the wrong way because of his tweets and the way he always has to be bombastic, and he always has to win, and he's always reacting. It puts some people off.
It puts I'll especially on social media, I'll watch. Because you described a great way of what you are, and you can say that in a minute. I just feel like I look at all sides. I try to be very issue-oriented or day-to-day oriented. But man, if you post anything one way or another, you can post you hate Trump, you can post you love Trump. And there are so many people jumping on your case one way or another. Mm-hmm. And it's just a fascinating time to live. I love the fact that we are so super engaged. I just wish it wasn't so harsh all the time. And I know that's a pipe dream.
We are more engaged, but there's a little bit too much of this and not enough of this.
I agree.
Totally. Too much of this, not enough of this.
Agreed.
We need more of this. We need a little bit more kind of seeing eye to eye, because like you said, everybody wants basically the same things. You want to have a good job.
Yes.
Take care of your family.
Yes. Don't
worry about any kind of terrorism or anything happening, and then see the country go forward. Because we're all Americans. We all love America. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or you're whatever. All right. So if we look more at the commonalities, which is what I try to bring with American Roundtable, we try to look at the commonalities and see what works, and we interview not only politicians and politics, but I take it into different areas. We'll interview people who are authors, and we'll put some lifestyle stuff in there to kind of smooth it out a bit, because you can beat somebody to death with politics, obviously. We don't want to do that. And then the other project, which I just signed on to, which I'm announcing on your show first, which is
all right, we got an exclusive.
This is an exclusive. My friend John Wild asked me to be part of his team on That Damn Radio Show at OrlandoRecordsRadio.com, and so I wanted to thank John, thank Alex, thank the other folks.
John's awesome. He comments
show.
Sometimes on my show.
Yeah,
awesome.
We've known each other off and on for years in the radio business through Real Radio, through Big 810 AM, which was a station that we did some stuff on. Him with the Eco guys. He did stuff with Jim Phillips. So we were always kind of more or less but we've never worked together until now. And I have a lot of respect for him.
What's the focus of That Damn Radio Show?
That Damn Radio Show is going to
I love the name, by the way.
And that Damn Radio Show is going to kind of it's going to almost kind of be like a Living Sexy, where we're going to have fun, we're going to have comedians, we're going to have live events that are tied into it, we're going to have an irreverent look at things. So it's almost like Living Sexy without the word sexy, which can be polarizing and confusing for some.
Correct.
So, and that was the one big thing, is like, I wanted to still do a show that, of course, had some great people in it. We have a great vibe, and we're creating opportunities for people to have fun. So, fun radio, 2 words. If you want to describe That Damn Radio Show, fun radio.
Fun radio.
Fun radio.
Engaging.
There's a lot of radio now I think it's become too safe.
It's totally become.
I don't know if you remember
safe.
Mark Szymanski.
I know that name.
Yeah, Baxter and Mark, WBIZ.
Yes. Yeah, I do. Baxter and Mark.
And Mark was on WHTQ, and he did a morning show on. There's some hearts for Mark. Mark passed away a few years ago, but when I was first working with Mark and doing stuff with Mark, he told me, these corporations nowadays, Al, he said they want to run these cars with restrictor plates, meaning the stations in the show. They don't want to make them go full bore, and he was always a full bore creative guy. So we found that a lot of radio shows, a lot of radio stations, not all, but a lot of them are playing it a bit safe, not trying to offend.
Well, that's what real radio used to be, right? It was... very opinionated.
Real Radio was started by a friend of mine named Walter Sabo, who was also my consultant when I've done different projects, including Living Sexy, and when I did something called Connections. And so Walter Sabo is one of those guys who he sees trends, he goes for the gold. He's got what they call cojones. And so he created Real Radio. Real Radio was nothing. And then he decided, let's put some talk on FM, which nobody had really done before.
Right.
And it's been on for 23 or 24 years. Right. So it's been successful. And of course, I had a show on there at night. It was called Connections. I had it on earlier this year. But people go to bed early now, which they didn't used to do.
I just think it's because I'm getting older.
So we didn't have as much audience as I was hoping, but But we,
What time is the show on?
This show was on from 10 to midnight. I did it with Glenda Chauncey, and I did it with Melissa Fox, and I did it with a couple other folks, Gary. Really nice. It was a good show. I mean, it had a good vibe. But I think people just go to bed at 10 or 9:30, or and they're not up anymore. You know how they used to be up for Johnny and all that, and people used to be able to stay up till 11:30 or 12. I don't think it happens.
But don't you think it's also because I agree? Don't you think it's also because people have so many choices?
Sure.
Like it's insane the amount of choices. Like,
well, what was it when we were kids? You had TV, and you had radio, and you had a typewriter. And a telephone that was plugged into your wall.
Yeah, you didn't.
That's what you had.
That's absolutely true. It's so funny because I think people who are younger, or even some of the people that I know that are my age, they don't remember that stuff. I remember when you used to you wanted the longest cord ever because we didn't have cordless phones. So you had to, if you wanted to talk to a girl.
My mom bought the longest cord they made.
you wanted to go in the next room if you were talking to a girl or you wanted to have a private conversation. And you had to make sure that cord was long because if it wasn't, you were in the kitchen with everybody else listening. Yeah. So it's definitely a different day and age. But I think the choices that people have, podcasts, vlogs, blogs, and then cable and everything streaming. Right. People just have so much choice. They don't really know what to do. So having a show, even this show and your show, we have to get people engaged. It has to be something a little different.
Well, we have to get people engaged. The nice thing about a show like yours and what I'm doing now is we can do it. There's no cost. Like a setup like this years ago would have been, hundreds of dollars.
I agree.
Or even more to produce, right?
The cost is the booze, really.
Really, yeah. Now, we took all that money and put it towards something else more important. So that's that was important to do. But I'm involved in the community. I'm a Shriner. And I love Bahia Shrine, so I want to give a shout out to my guys at Bahia Shriners.
Organization.
I'm trying to involve myself in charities and stuff. John Weil is involved with Toys for Tots, so I think that's important. But so my three things now are real estate, which is I do it with a really cool little company called Beacon Real Estate.
And that's when I read your bio, that's when I learned you were a realtor because we have like $2.35 for R&D here. And it all goes to booze. So when I read the bio, I'm like, oh my God, he's a real estate agent.
I want to be able to do my projects, but I also have to make a living too. And some of my projects are experimental, and so they don't create instant income. Obviously, I just like to kind of. I figure we'll take a shot, and Beacon Real Estate is great. If you want to find out more about what I do with real estate, alspry.com. I have alspry.com.
And we'll share all that. That's good.
And we'll share it. But
what made you choose real estate?
The freedom of not having a 9-to-5, to be able to do other projects as I need to be able to come here and be here at 1:30 or whatever and having a drink with you and
Allegedly.
doing the show. And enjoying your company.
Thanks.
Because you're a hell of a guy.
You're a hell of a guy.
Look at the velour. Look at the velour.
Matching.
We didn't plan that.
We did not.
I said, well, it's Christmas. I'll wear a red shirt.
That's what I said. I wore this to a Christmas party. I mean, that's what I wore it for. But I know it was going to be on camera twice today, so I just pulled it out of the closet.
Yeah. So we obviously we both like to have fun. Now we know we can work together because you do mortgages, I do real estate.
I know, right? Isn't that awesome?
And that's probably why you did what you did. You chose, right, to have a little bit of freedom, a little bit of autonomy.
I've never really worked for anyone. So I owned insurance agencies, then I owned title companies, and now being a mortgage guy, even though I work for a company, there's still that autonomy, and I don't have to report to anybody. Yeah. And I get to do this every day.
Who do we have out there? We have Kim. Hi, Kim. Hi, Mark. And we got all these cool people watching us.
It's funny too. Guys. And that counter, when you see earlier, it's not accurate.
And Boris.
Hi, Boris.
Boris Garby is a great art curator here at the Mills Gallery at the Art Gallery,
which
Mills
is
Park. I
beautiful.
should say.
Yeah.
Beautiful gallery. Check it out. It's on Mills Avenue, north of Colonial. It's right there at. Right there, right. It's kind of like, where Princeton exit is?
Yes.
You get off Princeton, make a right onto Mills, and you'll see it. It's a big building, and it's a beautiful art gallery. We just had a great event with a guy named Daniel Chimowitz, who I said I would, of course, give a plug to. He got me a really cool jacket. I think you saw it in one of my pictures. It had all kind of cool stuff. Oh, yeah.
Where did he get that from?
He makes them. He's an artist, man.
So I want to, you probably get this, I want somebody to dress me like a couple of days a week. Is that
Really?
such a hard thing to get?
Oh, you mean like Johnny used to? Johnny Carson, he would always
Just
have
somebody.
he
I'll
would always
plug
have
you
somebody,
all day long.
Like I think he had Pierre Cardin or something
He
dressing
did.
him and stuff.
He
so.
did.
Hello, there's my friend Tammy.
So
who I
Tammy,
did,
we love you. Thank you. I hear great things about you.
Tammy, I did the Living Sexy show with. She's great, and so yeah. But that's the thing. That's how I'm kind of structuring my life now here in Orlando, circa 2017, going into 2018. Is I want to have fun. I want to do creative projects with people. Continue to help people get homes, which I think is kind of cool.
I love
the whole
it's a
American
great market
dream
right now.
Nice market in Orlando. People want to move here. One of the fastest growing states in America. And at the same time, have some fun with TV. Have fun with radio.
What's the difference in your opinion on the TV and radio?
We're not frozen, are we?
No, we're live.
Cool.
That's why I have to keep redoing this.
Nice, man.
Bob Kovacevic is on, and Mark Johnson's also joined us. Thank you guys for coming on.
I think the difference between radio and TV that I find is radio is a little more stream of consciousness. Or TV is a bit more structured.
It's a little produced, right?
A little more produced. However, we try to keep it radio feeling, even when because we don't use teleprompters. The last thing I want to do is just to be looking and sounding like I'm just reading off.
I have no desire. She says right back at you, sexy man. That's what Tammy said. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that was.
Hey, Cristiano, good to see you.
But we want to keep on having fun, bringing fun acts to Orlando. In fact, we're going to go and see a cool set of groups over on Saturday night
this
now.
Is so cool.
We got the House of Blues having Orlando Rocks Christmas. So this is what happens when you live sexy. You get cool things like tickets for free, and we want to make the party bigger. So with that damn radio show, which is going to be kind of the creative radio outlet for me for a while, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. We're going to, and it's go to OrlandoRecordsRadio.com to check that out, but do it after the show, of course. And you'll be able to see kind of some stuff that's in development. Right now it's going to be launching again in about 2 or 3 weeks, so that'll be great. We'll be able to bring you onto my TV show, American Roundtable, where we can talk about stuff. In fact, mortgages would be a good topic.
I agree. I think it's unfortunately in a crazy way, it's almost becoming the Wild West again. So you just be super careful.
Is it really?
Yeah.
But it's only been 10 years.
But as Americans, we forget. So if you get an offer for no money down, no credit score, and I've seen the products, I've seen the stuff come out. Be incredibly careful with that, and I'm thank you for that because I saw one today. It was a flyer that came out, and somebody actually emailed me on it and said, "What? Look, it's no money down and it's interest only." And all I could think about was, "Oh my God, it's 2007 all over again." In 2008,
you think it's already back so fast?
The products are coming back again because we forget, and so as consumers, we start to demand things, and we forget that trouble that it got us into in the first place.
But it wasn't that long ago.
I know, but we don't remember
That's
anything.
True. Why is that? Why is the American memory so short now?
I think because, again, people are used to getting what they want. And so, yes, it was painful. It's kind of like childbirth. I joke with people.
Hi, Eileen.
Hi, Eileen. We love you. Hey, Cristiano.
Mike Brodsky, my pal.
Oh, Cristiano, you're right. It sounds like the old Countrywide. It's scary. So
if you
have people that are getting those offers, just be super careful because honestly, that is a product that again will take us down just like it did last time. So,
well, my friend Tammy, who does radio with me, also has been in the mortgage business for 30 years. So she's seen all this stuff kind of happening, these trends as well. So it's
scary out there.
It's kind of scary, but we try to keep it fun and.
So what do you want? What kind of imprint, or what do you want to do with the rest of your? Because we talked about life and how you want to live your life to the fullest.
Short.
It's short. So what do you want to do? What's
look at me. I just turned 30.
You look good for 30.
Thanks, man. It's premature. But no. You find yourself in a position where people like what you do. Obviously, you and me we're charismatic guys. And we seem to be able to communicate good. and watch somebody go, it's supposed to be communicated well.
Oh my God, I
But
thought
anyway,
the same thing, but it's all right. I wouldn't judge you.
You know, so no, I like that about you. You're not judging.
I am not judging.
And so I like to, I'd like to, with the rest of my life, is keep broadcasting, keep doing fun projects, keep getting people in the homes, keep the work. I do commercial too, helping businesses.
What would you give them? Like, so there's a lot of people. People will say to me, "I love the show. I would love to do a show. I love radio. I love TV." What would you tell someone who wants to expand their business into radio, or maybe wants to sponsor your show or be a part of your show? How does that work?
You know, here's the thing. If you want to become part of what the experience that we're creating, whether it's with you or with me or with both of us, because this is a new media. This reminds me of television in the 50s. It's experimental. It's brand new. No one knows where the hell it's going to go.
That is so true.
It's kind of exciting, you know, right?
Exciting.
It's the floodgates have opened, right? I would suggest that you get in touch with either one of our guys. If you have a product to sell, if you have a service to offer, we can integrate you into the show. Say you always wanted to do a TV or radio show or be part of one, but you don't have the wherewithal. Well, you know, I suggest that you take a look at what we're doing. If you like it and you want to maybe be a part of it, be a sponsor, it doesn't cost much.
Correct.
You know? And so it's a way to get your message out there in a way that's fun, you know. And plus, when you get associated with us, look how much fun we're having. I mean, by default, you're going to have a blast because look at all the good stuff that we're doing.
It's
right?
true. I mean, there is fun, and I think what happens is people have this preconceived notion that television's expensive, radio's expensive, I can't afford that, or I would never be able to make a commercial. And honestly, there's pros that help us all do our job. I mean, this Facebook Live is kind of a new thing, and it's cool for me because I hate editing. That's why I did live, because I had no desire to want to OCD and edit. But so think about it. You have a product or service, get it out there. I mean, I'm not the expert in it. Maybe Al is, but I'm not. And so, but we have a forum and a platform.
Sure. And I've done this stuff for a while where I've created segments for people on my radio shows, and then they come in. One good example is my friend Joe Boy. He's a computer expert, and he runs a company called Your Computer Solutions, yourcomputersolutions.net. See, I gave you a plug, Joe. So a guy like Joe comes in and he talks about computer issues, maybe stuff people that have to be aware of with hacking and viruses and stuff like that. At the same time, he gets a forum to do whatever he does in his own inimitable way. We don't tell him how to act or what to say. He can let his own personality shine through, something like that. It would be just the way we would integrate somebody. Or a guy like Dr. Dave Klein. He has a great practice up in Longwood called Stages of Life. Great nutraceutical products and products for diet and beautiful stuff.
Love that.
Stages of Life, you got to look him up too. We have him come in and he did a little thing, a spiel, and we integrated him into the show.
Right.
So it was a seamless integration into the show. It's just friends coming by and talking. That's basically it.
That's exactly. I never say interview. And I only say guest because I don't know how else to describe it. They're all my friends.
I'm your guest right now.
You are my guest.
Sure.
But we're not sitting here trying to promote one thing or another. We are literally just having a conversation, stream of consciousness. I mean, I really don't do a ton of research, mainly because I want it to flow. And I don't necessarily want to be pegged to what we want to talk about to promote XYZ. And so we don't have to do that with the sponsorships. I don't know why I'm on sponsorships now. Let me read Eileen's comment. Too many mortgage lenders doing crazy things daily. I'll refrain from naming names. Come on, Eileen. That was a joke. They destroy people's dreams and expectations with the info they give them. That is true. So what Eileen is saying as a realtor, you've got to be careful out there. And that's with any lender. Make sure that product doesn't smell or taste like 2006, 2007, because that's bad, and I'm seeing it.
Stay away from balloons. Stay away from crazy. You know what? 30-year fixed mortgages are awesome. I have one. You always know when your payment is coming.
Yes.
You know what your interest rate's going to be.
Correct.
You put the proper amount down. Your life is simple. You don't need fancy, sexy products necessarily.
Yes, you don't need an adjust. I mean, there are people who have to get adjustable rate mortgages. I get it.
Sure.
But remember, it's adjustable, and you
responsibly.
have to do it. That's a great
Responsibly.
thing. All right, what do you want to leave them with? Because we even though we started the show all over again, we've already gone past 30 minutes, which I love.
All right. Well, I just want to leave you with this. Thank you guys for allowing me to kind of talk to you for a few minutes. Please check out American Roundtable. You can look it up on Facebook. Search. Check out Beacon Real Estate, beaconrealestate.com, and also That Damn Radio Show, which I'll be starting on in a couple weeks at OrlandoRecordsRadio.com. And the reason why they had it Orlando Records Radio, John Wild told me last night, is because originally they had something called Orlando Records, which they were promoting, but then the radio show became more popular than the record label. So that's
interesting. All right, so one last thing, and I don't want to get too political, but I'm curious what you think. Leave them with your thought process on, in this political climate, how are you feeling about doing business? Do you feel like we're in a good place to expand, or do you feel like we've got too many restrictions? Because I get this sense from people that, especially the younger crowd, seems to have no restrictions. They feel like they can do anything.
Well, let me suggest to you that the more you wait, the older you get, and you never know when you're not going to be here anymore. I've lost too many people in their 40s and 50s, friends of mine, and even older that I've known. So I would suggest that today is the perfect day to do what you want to do.
I love that.
Never wait. Don't let fear guide you. Do it with love, because when you do it with love, you're working on universal energy, and you're working along with God instead of, working against
that's good.
God.
See, that's amazing. And I agree with him 100%. We love you guys. We're going to post and put all of Al's information on when we share the video. You were awesome. Thanks for putting up with the no sound thing for a few minutes. Thank God. See, they tell us. They're good. They're a good group of people.
You guys rock. Thank you so much for supporting all what we're doing, because I'm going to have Ted on my show, and we'll have some fun there.
We will.
But I mean, the number one thing is, keep living sexy.
Keep living sexy. All right. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Talk to you soon.